The Deception. High Commander Vexnar of the Talgrim Empire stretched his triple-jointed arms and adjusted his chitinous exoskeleton as he studied the holographic display. For 8 stellar cycles, his raiding party had dominated this sector of space, preying on the shipping lanes that connected the outlying human colonies. The Talgrim were natural predators, evolved from apex hunters on their homeworld, and they considered commerce raiding not just profitable, but an expression of their evolutionary superiority. Commander, his sensor officer Drechthel clicked his mandibles excitedly. We've detected a vessel on long-range scanners. Appears to be a human mining ship. Vexinar's compound eyes narrowed with interest. Mining vessels often carried valuable refined ores and processing equipment. Configuration. Analyzing now, sir. Appears to be a Helios-class industrial vessel. Minimal armaments detected, just standard point defense systems. Engine output suggests they're running at 70% capacity. Their trajectory indicates they're returning from the Cygnus asteroid belt. Life signs. Standard human complement. Approximately 20 biosignatures. Civilian patterns. Vexnar flicked his antennae in amusement. Humans were so predictable. Soft, fragile creatures who relied on their technology rather than natural strength. Their civilian vessels were particularly vulnerable when separated from their military escorts. Set intercept course. Standard hunting formation. Let's see what treasures our human friends are carrying today. The Talgrim warship, a sleek, predatory vessel resembling a massive insectoid creature, adjusted its course, its cloaking technology activated to mask its approach. Vexnar had perfected the art of the ambush, approaching undetected, revealing themselves at the last moment, and then overwhelming his prey with a show of superior firepower. Most vessels surrendered without a fight once they realized they were facing a Talgrim raider. We'll be in optimal engagement range in 17 minutes, Commander, the navigation officer reported. Excellent. Prepare boarding parties. I want assault teams ready to deploy the moment they surrender. Vexnar's mandibles clicked in anticipation. Let's review their manifest. I want to know what we're claiming today. The intelligence officer brought up the ship's broadcasted cargo manifest. Sir, they're carrying processed palladium, iridium, and titanium. Estimated value: 3 million credits. They also have mining equipment and what appears to be a shipment of atmospheric processors. A good haul. The atmospheric processors alone will fetch a premium on the black market. Vexnar settled into his command chair, his exoskeleton clicking against the metallic surface. Begin the approach. Aboard the human vessel Ventura, Captain Sarah Mitchell watched the approaching blip on her sensor display with calculated indifference. The ship's bridge was dimly lit, giving the appearance of a vessel running on minimum power. Her crew worked their stations with quiet efficiency, their movements practiced and precise. They took the bait, her first officer, Commander David Chen, noted quietly. Talgrim raider, just as intelligence predicted. Mitchell nodded, her expression revealing nothing. Status of our systems. All combat systems are in standby mode, masked by the mining equipment signatures. Our vulnerable profile is broadcasting perfectly. Engine output deliberately reduced to suggest we're operating at diminished capacity. What about our special passengers? Chen smiled thinly. Lieutenant Commander Rivera has her team in position. They're ready whenever you give the word. Captain Mitchell took a sip from her coffee mug, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. Let's make this look good, people. Remember your training. We're just a scared mining crew about to have a very bad day. The Ventura continued its course, making no attempt to evade or acknowledge the approaching raider. To all outward appearances, it was a standard civilian mining vessel, its hull marked with the logo of the Pan-Solar Mining Consortium, its external configuration exactly matching the specifications of a Helios-class industrial ship. As the Talgrim vessel closed to medium range, it suddenly decloaked, revealing its full intimidating form, the biological-inspired design intended to trigger primal fear responses in other species. They're hailing us, Captain, The communications officer reported, her voice deliberate, holding a tremor. On screen, Mitchell ordered, slouching slightly in her chair and arranging her features into an expression of alarm. The view screen flickered to life, revealing Vexnar's alien visage. The Talgrim commander's compound eyes glistened under the bridge lights, his mandibles opening and closing in a display of intimidation. "Human vessel," Vexnar announced, his translator converting his clicks and chirps into standard English. "This is High Commander Vexnar of the Talgrim Empire. Your ship has been selected for inspection. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in your immediate destruction." Mitchell put on her best impression of a frightened civilian captain. This is Captain Mitchell of the mining vessel Ventura. We're just a mining ship. We have valuable cargo, but no weapons. Please, we don't want any trouble." Vexnar's mandibles clicked in amusement. "Wise decision, human. Remain on your current course and prepare to receive our boarding parties. Any attempt to evade or activate defensive systems will be met with lethal force." The transmission cut off. Mitchell immediately straightened in her chair, all pretense of fear gone. They bought it. "Combat stations, everyone. Execute Operation Honeypot." Throughout the Ventura, hidden compartments began to open as the ship's true nature was revealed. What had appeared to be standard mining equipment reconfigured into weapon systems. Panels that had displayed mining data now showed tactical readouts, and in the cargo hold, what had seemed like atmospheric processors were actually disguised troop deployment pods. On the Talgrim vessel, Vexnar watched with satisfaction as the human ship maintained its course, showing no signs of resistance. "Boarding parties report ready, Commander," his tactical officer announced. "Deploy on my mark. Standard capture protocol. Secure the bridge and engineering sections first, then sweep for resistance. I want the cargo secured within 30 minutes." The Talgrim assault craft detached from the main vessel, their sleek shapes cutting through space toward the seemingly helpless mining ship. Vexnar watched their progress on the tactical display, already considering how to divide the spoils. "Sir," the sensor officer's voice carried an unusual note of uncertainty. "I'm detecting some anomalous energy readings from the human vessel." "Explain," Vexnar demanded, his antennae twitching with the first hint of concern. "Their power signature just changed. I'm reading. This can't be right. The system must be malfunctioning." "What is it?" Vexnar's mandibles clacked impatiently. "Sir, they're powering up weapons systems. Military grade. Nothing that should be on a mining vessel." Before Vexnar could respond, the supposedly vulnerable human ship suddenly came alive. Concealed weapon ports opened along its hull, revealing advanced energy cannons that locked onto the approaching boarding craft. "Boarding parties, abort approach," Vexnar shouted, but it was too late. The Ventura's weapon systems fired with devastating precision, destroying half the boarding craft in the first salvo. The surviving craft scattered, trying desperately to evade the unexpected firepower. "What is this?" Vexnar hissed, his compound eyes fixed on the tactical display as his carefully planned raid disintegrated before him. On the view screen, Captain Mitchell's face appeared again, but now all traces of fear were gone. Her expression was one of cold, professional determination. "This is Captain Sarah Mitchell of the Earth Alliance naval vessel Ventura, Special Anti-Piracy Division," she announced calmly. "Your vessel has been identified as engaging in illegal raiding activities. You are now facing a military-grade vessel specifically designed to eliminate threats like yours. Your boarding parties have been neutralized. Surrender your vessel immediately or face the consequences." Vexnar stared at the screen in disbelief as the mining ship continued its transformation, its hull reconfiguring to reveal additional weapon systems and defense arrays. What had appeared to be a simple, vulnerable prey had suddenly become a deadly predator, and his raiding party was caught in its jaws. The revelation. Commander Vexnar's compound eyes darted frantically between tactical displays as alarms blared across the Talgrim bridge. The supposed mining vessel had metamorphosed before their eyes, shedding its civilian disguise to reveal a warship bristling with advanced weaponry. Half his boarding craft lay in ruins, vaporized by precision energy weapons that no mining vessel should possess. "Return fire," Vexnar ordered, mandibles clicking rapidly in agitation. "Deploy all remaining assault craft. I want that vessel crippled." The Talgrim warship unleashed its formidable arsenal, energy beams slicing through space toward the Ventura. But the human vessel moved with unexpected agility, executing evasive maneuvers that seemed impossible for a ship of its class. Most of the Talgrim weapons fire passed harmlessly through empty space. "Sir, their defensive systems are military-grade. Our targeting sensors can't get a solid lock," the weapons officer reported, his exoskeleton creaking with tension. On the Ventura, Captain Mitchell stood calmly at the center of her bridge, watching the Talgrim response with clinical detachment. Status of their remaining boarding craft. 3 craft still approaching, Captain, Lieutenant Puddle reported from Tactical. They've adjusted their approach vector to minimize exposure to our primary weapon systems. Mitchell nodded. Perfect. Let them come. Lieutenant Commander Rivera. A voice responded over the comm system. Rivera here. My team is in position, Captain. We're ready to give our visitors a proper welcome. Proceed as planned. Remember, we want prisoners for intelligence. In the Ventura's specially designed receiving bay, Lieutenant Commander Elena Rivera checked her tactical gear one final time. Her team of 12 Marine specialists were positioned strategically throughout the compartment, hidden behind holographic projections that made the area appear to be a standard cargo hold filled with mining equipment. Status check, Rivera ordered quietly into her comm unit. Team Alpha in position. Team Bravo ready. Team Charlie standing by. Rivera smiled grimly. Remember, non-lethal takedowns when possible. Enough, Mitchell replied simply. The Alliance is committed to eliminating piracy in this sector. Your surrender now would be the wisest course of action. Vexnar looked around his bridge. His mighty warship was crippled, his boarding teams captured, and his reputation, built on 8 cycles of successful raids, was in ruins, all because he had underestimated these supposedly soft, technologically dependent humans. "And if we surrender?" he asked, his voice now subdued. "Your crew will be treated according to interstellar conventions. You will be detained and processed through the Alliance judicial system. Your vessel will be impounded and studied. The information you provide about other raiding operations will be considered in your sentencing." Mitchell paused. "I should mention that we're particularly interested in your relationship with certain Centauri arms dealers who have been supplying raiders in this sector. Cooperation on that front would be viewed favorably." Vexnar stiffened. The human knew about their Centauri connections, information that was supposed to be highly classified. Just how extensive was the Alliance intelligence network? On the Ventura, Mitchell watched the alien commander's reaction with interest. The mention of Centauri arms dealers had been a calculated shot in the dark, based on intelligence fragments collected from previous captured raiders. The Talgrim commander's reaction confirmed they were on the right track. "Your time is running out, Commander," Mitchell said calmly. "My orders allow me considerable discretion regarding non-compliant vessels. I would prefer to resolve this without further bloodshed." Vexnar's antennae drooped in defeat. "We surrender our vessel. A wise decision. Prepare to receive our security teams. Any resistance will be met with immediate lethal force." As the transmission ended, Mitchell turned to her first officer. "Commander Chen, prepare boarding teams. I want that ship secured within 30 minutes. "Yes, Captain," Chen replied, already coordinating with Rivera's teams. Mitchell looked around her bridge, at the crew who had executed the operation flawlessly. "Well done, everyone. Another successful hunt." Hours later, as Alliance personnel secured the Talgrim vessel and processed the captured raiders, Mitchell sat in her ready room reviewing the after-action report. The door chimed, and Commander Chen entered, carrying a datapad. "Preliminary intelligence from the Talgrim ship's computers, Captain. Looks like we hit the jackpot. They were carrying navigation data for 6 other raiding groups operating in neighboring sectors. Mitchell smiled. Forward it to Alliance Command immediately. They'll want to dispatch additional hunter groups. Already done. Chen hesitated. There's something else. The Talgrim had classified communications with what appears to be a high-ranking official in the Centauri hegemony. The content suggests this isn't just independent piracy. There might be state sponsorship involved. Mitchell's expression darkened. That complicates matters. The hegemony is supposed to be a neutral power in this region. It gets worse. Based on the communications we've decoded, the Talgrim weren't just raiding for profit. They were testing human response capabilities, cataloging our defensive systems, and identifying weaknesses in our colonial shipping lanes. Reconnaissance by force, Mitchell murmured. Preparing for something larger. Chen nodded grimly. That's my assessment as well. Mitchell stood and moved to the viewport, looking out at the stars and the captured Talgrim vessel secured alongside the Ventura. They thought we were weak, she said quietly. They saw our civilian ships, our mining vessels, our colonial transports, and they mistook technological restraint for vulnerability. She turned back to Chen. Update our mission parameters. We're not just hunting pirates anymore, Commander. We're gathering intelligence for what might be coming next. Chen nodded, understanding the implications. Yes, Captain. As Chen left, Mitchell returned her gaze to the stars. The Talgrim had learned a costly lesson today, one that would soon spread throughout the raiding community of this sector. Human ships were not the easy targets they appeared to be. Behind their civilian facades might lurk deadly predators, waiting patiently for the unwary to approach. And if the Centauri hegemony was indeed testing humanity's defenses through proxy raiders, they too would soon discover that underestimating humans was a dangerous miscalculation. The species that had fought its way from a single world to a thriving interstellar alliance had not survived by being weak. They had survived by being adaptable, resourceful, and when necessary, utterly ruthless.